And welcome to the October 14th, 2014 School Committee meeting. We're happy to have you join us. We'd like to start off this meeting by letting you know that it's being recorded by East Hampton Public Access Cable. The School Committee would like to recognize and thank Tim Riley for taping tonight's production. East Hampton Public Access Cable Station Channels 5, 19, and 20 is looking for volunteers. If anyone is interested in helping to tape city government meetings, please contact Kathy Lynch at 413-203-1360. Superintendent Follinsby, do you have some announcements for us?
I do. The next school committee meetings are October 28th, November 18th, and December 9th, 2014. The Special Education Parent Advisory Council will meet on the following dates in the conference room on the second floor at 50 Payson Avenue. November 12th, December 10th, January 14th, February 11th, March 11th, April 8th, May 13th, and June 10th. There is no school on Tuesday, November 4th, due to Election Day and Teacher Professional Development. There is no school on Tuesday, November 11th, due to Veterans Day. There is no school Wednesday through Friday, November 24th through 26th, due to Thanksgiving break. There's no school Wednesday through Friday, December 24th through January 2nd, due to Christmas, New Year's, and winter break. School will reopen on Monday, January 5th, 2015. And I do have one additional announcement that was not on our in our packet. Today, a 3-member team from the Massachusetts School Building Authority visited our district to tour our elementary schools. This was an opportunity for MSBA, Massachusetts School Building Authority, to collect more information on our schools and their needs. And Diane Sullivan, who led the team, let us know that they will get back in touch with us in a few weeks to discuss next steps. So we were one of a few districts in the area they were visiting this week, but we had a very good conversation with them, an opportunity to sit and get to know them and for them to get to know us and our buildings and our needs, and it was really a very great experience, I think, for all of us. So we're excited about that.
Exciting, very exciting. Yeah.
You said a couple weeks is the timeline on that?
That's what she said. She would be sending me more information by email about next steps, so we'll be looking forward to getting that.
Good news.
Yes.
Okay, Laura Scott isn't with us for correspondence. Do you want to step in and her place, Wendy?
I don't see any correspondence.
Maybe the
It would be in the blue folder.
Oh, right here.
the program
Right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
at the
I'm
high
going to get
school?
fired from this job. So does she generally read this or just talk about it? This whole flyer, I don't need to just, yeah.
Yeah, I just
It's
mentioned it.
just an announcement that next Wednesday, October 15th at 6 p.m.
Tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
Yes.
How did we get to the middle of October? So tomorrow at 6 p.m., and I think I got an all-call today
You
on
did,
this.
yes.
So there's a presentation about the author of Paying for College, a 2015 guide to saving time and money, will speak at East Hampton High School tomorrow night
At 6 o'clock.
at 6 o'clock.
And this is something that parents and guardians of children in grades kindergarten through 12 are encouraged to attend. It's
Yes.
never too early.
Never too early to start
start.
planning.
Right. Okay, and gifts.
Looks like there was a few gifts for the SAD concert. There were SAD concert donations from Burger King in the amount of $500. Do we make motions to approve each of these? Just all together? Just
All
announce.
together, yeah.
Okay. Burger King in the amount of $500. Fink and Paris Insurance Agency in the amount of $2,000. Dave Sullivan Committee in the amount of $100. And Tandem Bagel in the amount of $200.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept all those gifts with gratitude and appreciation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we would invite anyone who would like to come speak to us on any particular topic, or welcome to come up and talk to us for a couple of minutes.
You need to know who I am, right? Nancy Dunn,
Yes.
high school SAD advisor and health education teacher and phys ed teacher at the high school. We didn't get on the agenda for tonight, but we wanted to do this sooner rather than later about the concert and some events that have happened. So I just want to introduce to you Brian Delaney, and then I'm going to say a few good things that are happening at the high school because of the work of SAD. So we want to do that, and some of it is what you just referred to.
Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to thank some of the sponsors that funded us. My name is Brian Delaney. I'm one of the key organizers of the East Hampton Concert for a Cause and the president of the SAD Club at the high school. We wanted to thank some of our sponsors that were key in helping us put on the event. First off, Nikki D's, Tommy Carr Auto Group, Florence Savings Bank, East Hampton Savings Bank, Kiwanis Club, Rotary Club, Helping Hands Foundation, Fincan Paris Insurance Agency, Taylor Real Estate, Cannon Real Estate, Mantis Graphics, Richards Fuel and Heating Incorporated, A to Z Properties and Storage Company, Burger King, AAA Insurance Agency, Liberty Mutual, Cernak Fuel, Tandem Bagel, Militech Incorporated, the Northwest District Attorney's Office, and Polish National Credit Union, as well as some of our other donations that were not monetary, but they definitely helped us with our event. And that's the Platinum Pony for shuttling our artists, Strong Bus Company for our shuttle, Mike Superson of Big E's Supermarket for his year-long support in so many ways for this event, Duso Trucking, the Apollo Grill for feeding 25 band members, Western Village Ski and Sport for their gift certificates, Kicks 100.9 for the autographed Aaron Lewis guitar, Mrs. Erin Zazula for her autographed Patriots Rob Gronkowski photograph, and the Friends of Football for their help with our raffle. We also want to thank Tom and Leanne Connor for their support, as well as Mr. John Mason, Miss McCullough, Miss Buckout, Miss Ledoux, Miss Blanchard, and our high school's administrative assistants for the meeting and helping our every need that we, in a timely manner, and we really appreciate that, as well as Mayor Catcher, Mr. Clay Crow, and the SAD members who helped, and then everyone who supported us by buying a ticket. We had about 200 to 250 people at our event in the pouring rain, so we were really happy that the community came out and supported us, and we're excited to have the second edition in June.
What does that mean, Brian? Second edition, you're going to have another concert?
We are going to have another concert to feature more national Nashville country artists, to hopefully bigger names. We actually have other sponsors, and Kix is going to help us out with our concert, so it's really helped us with some segues to creating a bigger and better show for our second edition.
Do we have a sense of how much money was raised?
We raised just about $9,000 in ticket sales, all together for the amount funding the concert, as well as the profit. We raised $25,000.
Okay.
Good for you.
And either Brian or Ms. Dunn, is there, I'm assuming this is probably a rhetorical question, but there's plans for follow-up for something in the paper or an article, or do we have
Well, actually, I could answer that one piece of it, and then Ms. Dunn, maybe you have something else. Mike Reardon, who does stories about the district, did a lovely story on the concert and sent me a copy of it today for final approval.
Nice.
He usually sends them out to the papers, and we'll put it on our website.
Nice. I mean, it's just a great story, and then a tremendous list of community sponsors. That was impressive.
Yes, and I need to just say, I need to toot this kid's horn too, because every business we went to, as we said at the concert, one of the reasons we're here tonight is for some of it, Mike Reardon does put it on the website, but we've tried to get some press release, but we just do want to make sure that you know what these SAD kids are doing in the high school. And every business he went to, he had this 4-minute PowerPoint, and nobody said no to him. And his counterpart, Jacob LaPrade, who worked on the budget, Jacob did the budget, but at first nobody believed this could be pulled off. And he called me in the middle of the summer and said, we're going to do a concert. And I said, oh, whatever. And then we had a concert. And because we had such good support and we have everything in place, businesses are supporting us. And to his credit, one of the guys, Adam Fears, had told him it's the best hospitality that he's ever received. And Adam Craig had told him that it's the most professional person that he's ever worked with. Brian was always on the phone. I wasn't. He's just said sign the contract. I didn't read it. I think the school lawyer did.
Yes.
But he did it, and so and Kicks and people that he really tried to get on board, he would try to get them down on the budget, and we're not paying that much. Can you do this for us? He got a guitar out of it, and he just did a really good job of people. The lighting guy wants to, Rob is his name, wants to be on the organizing committee and come out from Connecticut to work with him. To work with the committee for the next concert. So we have everything in place, and we do have people who are looking to help us out. So with that said about the concert, I also just want to give a few more plugs here about this guy and about the SAD kids. Brian last week, Wednesday, was the keynote speaker at the district attorney's in David Sullivan in Greenfield Community College, and he gave a great speech on finding your voice. And I'm actually trying to get that on the school website as well, so that people can read his speech, and it's a speech that hopefully he can use when he speaks nationally in February at a national convention as well. And so he was the keynote speaker, and then he led 8 of our SAD members. Our SAD kids were the key workshop leaders there, and they gave workshops to middle school students. It was geared to middle school students, and 8 of the peer leaders in SAD worked with these schools to organize an activity in their school and get it going and off the ground. And so that's another tribute to SAD and his leadership skills, along with other kids in SAD as well. And I have 2 more things. This happened in the spring, and it hasn't been totally announced yet, or I haven't seen it, so I nominated Brian for the Youth Advisory Board in the state of Massachusetts. And I've nominated kids before, and 2 students in the past, and they've never won. Brian did win. He was selected, and he's the only boy on the committee. There's 9 people selected out of over 1,000 kids in the state of Massachusetts. And it's just a huge tribute to Brian, to East Hampton High School, but not just East Hampton High School, to Western Massachusetts, as kids from this area are rarely represented. So he's taking tomorrow, he's going for his first meeting, and he is taking he can take 2 budding leaders with him. And he's taken Eamon, what's Eamon's last name? Eamon Graham and Samantha Volpe with him, and those are sophomores. So he'll be training them. So that's a huge honor for him as well. And the last thing I want to share with this committee is in October 24th, Brian Delaney, Jacob LaPrade, and myself are receiving state awards at the state of Massachusetts. I'm receiving the Wellness Coordinator Award, and Brian or Jacob are receiving Champions of Wellness Awards in the state of Massachusetts by the MIAA. And I just want to, this is the write-up that will be, you can pass them down. I just wanted to share that with you. That's what, and so maybe we could get that on the website as well. And that's another huge honor for the work that SAD does and that these kids do. And I need to say, lastly, is that every year this club just grows, and his leadership and other kids in it, they just pick up on his stuff. And I had 35 kids. I now have over 42 kids. Wow. The last count, and more kids keep joining. And I think it's because of the youth leadership. So thank you.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a couple quick questions? You don't have to, but what year are you, Brian?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Wow.
I'm a senior. I'm a senior at the high school.
Well, I'm glad you're molding some up and coming people so you can pass the torch.
Yes.
And can I just clarify, every one of the sponsors that I was like, my mouth just kept getting my jaw closer and closer to the floor, that was all in-person contacts?
Yeah, we visited them and personally presented and explained our cause and the event. And
you have a future ahead of you, my friend.
We didn't want to kind of just send them an email off. We wanted to meet with them and explain to them, and show them how dedicated we were.
Good for you. Thank you so much.
I do want to say, he said, Miss Dunn, you call them, I'll go.
And Brian, I just want to say that I did attend the concert, and I just was so impressed at the organization and how you had set everything up so that in spite of the pouring rain, everyone had a great time. The musicians were wonderful. It was really a tremendous event, and I will look forward to another one in June then.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Thank you
Brian,
very
for all
much.
you've done.
Outstanding.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And we think maybe you shouldn't graduate this year.
I know.
Postgraduate year, perhaps.
Yes.
Can I just say one thing about that? And Brian told his parents that he wished high school was as long as elementary school.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be nice. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, moving on to less exciting things. The Finance Subcommittee, do we have a report from the Finance
Nothing new.
Subcommittee? Okay, Policy Subcommittee.
Yes, so you have the minutes of our last meeting, and then we have the first reading of the domestic violence leave policy. So this is a new required policy, it's a brand new policy, and we need to have a motion for the first reading, which I can do. So I make a motion to approve the first reading of the domestic violence leave policy, which is GCD.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to CES, Collaborative for Educational Services.
Yeah, we met on the 24th, and there were a few things. It was nice to get back into that group. There were a couple things that I wanted to ask, just for clarification. Where's my notes? Oh, and these might not have answers right now. It was just a question. I saw in the director's report for the month that there was a reading recovery teacher training that we participated in, and I was just curious about that. I think partly because I think ELA is just kind of a soft spot in my heart.
Yes.
And I think I asked who the rep from, or who the teacher was from, is Kim Gilbert, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's already been certified, right? So was this just a refresh for her?
Yes,
or-
it was a retraining. So she was she had reading recovery certification when we hired her, which any teacher who has this reading recovery certification makes an excellent teacher of literacy for young children. So we were thrilled when we got her. At that point in time, we didn't have a reading recovery opening, but we had a first grade opening, and so she took that first grade position. So it was an ideal way for her to use her skills. And then last year we had a lot of conversations about putting her back into reading recovery. It's something that she had requested to do, and also to give her more responsibility for coordinating our literacy programs across the elementary schools, which she had also done in Springfield when she was a coach in the Springfield schools. So this year she's doing some direct services to Title I students, and reading recovery, which is an intensive reading intervention for first grade students, short term, that shows it has tremendous data on its success for helping children become readers in the average band of reading in their classrooms and not to need further reading support. So we're very proud of having that program in our district. And she is also doing some coaching and some coordination of professional development. So.
Nice.
We're very pleased with Kim's work, and the fact that we were able, through the CP3 grant, I think it is, to have this funding to retrain her, because reading recovery requires that you're retrained if you've been out of the program for a certain number of years.
There were a number of places in the executive director's report for the month that I was just impressed to see how much the district, under your leadership, really takes advantage of the collaborative resources that are out there through the collaborative. It was exciting. So there was an on-site consultation workshop for literacy in East Hampton this month, and then they spoke about, which happened last summer, and I know, Nancy, you did a great job of reporting out on it, the social studies Library of Congress piece that Kelly Brown did, but I didn't know, or maybe I just missed it in the summer meetings, that the grant was just renewed with an increase in funding. So I just thought I'd share that. That was exciting.
Yeah, we had
Especially
teachers from all over the area come for that set of classes, and of course Kelly Brown was instrumental in the teaching, and it was just very well received. So we've had a good, long, and fruitful relationship with the collaborative. We've been good partners with them, and they with us, and we do try to take advantage of all that they offer us. So.
And then there was just one other piece that stood out for me, and the answer is probably very obvious to this, but there was a presentation from a Northampton OT group, and I have the women's names, I don't have them off the top of my head, but it was a fantastic presentation, and I think their site is somewhere over in the industrial area. And I was just super impressed, and it was also kind of ironic in that we had just, I think at our last meeting, approved for hiring on a full-time OT, but it made me think about all the resources that we probably don't have in-house to the extent that they have, and it's probably not absolutely necessary, but it also just, in my brain, thought it's so nice to bring those kinds of things in-house and not have to outsource for them. At the same time, I'd like to hear more as we go down the pike and be mindful of what kinds of resources these kids and these families really need, both short-term and long-term, so that we can keep that in mind when we're talking about budget stuff. I know there's always more of a need, but it was a really impressive presentation.
Great.
Excellent. No, we don't have our student activities representative with us. So I guess we will pass on that unless anyone has anything that they know about that they'd like to share about student activities.
I think they have homecoming this
Week from Friday,
is it next week? It's coming soon.
sponsored by the Student Council, I believe.
That I don't know. I just know that
Where's
it's
Brian when we need him?
That's kind of exciting.
Yes.
Doing an activity himself tonight.
Okay. All right. And then we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Deb. So the first thing I wanted to report on is the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship Letters for our students in the class of 2015. You have a copy of the letter in your packet. We were very pleased that 33 of our students in a class of 117 received these scholarships. So that's
Will
impressive.
we be getting a listing of those? Because I think we have some two proud parents here that, do we get a listing of the names or?
Well, you know, we
thought in the
chose
past
not
we
to
had.
put them in our packet.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, we will probably have an opportunity to share that on our website.
Gotcha.
We're very proud.
Is it listed?
The names are not listed here.
No, not here, but you can go to the website, right?
I don't believe you can. You have to have
You
a
needed a password.
password.
That password?
Special password, yes. But we do have the list available, so.
Congratulations to the two proud parents.
Yes.
It's all the
Thank you.
practice.
All the
All the
proud
proud
parents.
parents,
exactly,
right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. We're very proud of our students for their success. The other piece of information in your packet is the enrollment figures for 2014, 2015, and I asked Sue Coley to also print out the 2013, 2014 enrollment numbers. We have done a number of shifting around of students at the elementary level in particular, from building to building. We have to do that every year, which is something that we explained to the MSBA today, so that we equalize classes in terms of numbers and in terms of boy-girl ratios rather for these classrooms. We had, I'll just kind of summarize the data here. We had a loss of 53 students at the elementary level, but a gain of 36 students at Whitebrook. We had a big fourth grade class, a good number of whom went to Whitebrook. So we had a net loss of 17 students there. We had a loss of 9 students at the high school. So we had a total loss of 26 students, but our numbers are staying, our total numbers, as you can see, are staying pretty comparable from one year to the next. We don't have our figures yet on exactly how many of our students went out for choice, how many went to charter. That comes according to Lynn Moran, who tracks all of that information in November. And we also then would also look at which students might have moved out of the district as well. So it's a combination of those three things.
When we get those a peek at those numbers in November, do we get a sense of any themes around the reasons?
Yes, we usually get a look at demographics, particular grade levels. There's some subjective information, and at that point in time, we'll send a letter out to all of the families who choiced out of our district, asking them to give us some information on why they had made that choice. So that when we will share that information with you when we get it.
And you also share the information that Lynn Moran puts together, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Any other questions on this? Okay. The next piece in your packet that I wanted to report on tonight, and this is really my major report, is the new district strategic plan. And I'm going to go to the podium and put up a PowerPoint as I talk about this to see if it'll make it a little bit easier for the home audience to see what's going on here. And I don't know if we need to make that a little darker. Do we want to just darken the lights over there a little bit? It's fine. I guess maybe this one that needs to go, and those could go back on. Is that better?
Is that good or not?
Good enough?
Good.
Okay.
Is it good for you?
So I want to begin by explaining the process that was used in developing our new strategic plan. I began gathering data at the end of last year for this plan. Over the summer, 2 full days of leadership team meetings in July and parts of 2 meetings in August were devoted to drafting the new plan. In September, after principals had received feedback from teachers, portions of another 2 meetings were devoted to finalizing the plan. In 2010 and 2011, my first year as superintendent in East Hampton, members of the community came together to develop our first strategic plan. Some of you were present when that first plan was created, and the initial plan for the district was a 3-year plan. One of the tasks of that committee was to engage in an envisioning process that resulted in a vision for our schools. Oops, and where did it go? Right here. So the vision that we had in that original plan was this one, that the East Hampton Public Schools provide high-quality staff, rich educational experiences, state-of-the-art resources, and a collaborative environment that includes students, families, and community. All students are partners in their education. They think critically, analyze information, problem solve, and apply their knowledge in varied contexts. Students communicate effectively using mathematical thinking, oral and written language, and technology. East Hampton Public School students are prepared for success in college and career and are responsible contributing members of a global community. The leadership team members examined this vision statement as one of our first tasks as we began to think about our new strategic plan, and we all agreed that this same vision for excellence would guide us as we began the task of developing a new strategic plan for the district. We believed that all that we had put into our vision 3 years ago was still our vision, and so it remains the vision statement for our plan. The process in developing the plan was much the same as the process we engaged in 3 years ago. We began by collecting data on successes and challenges in our work here in our schools. We examined MCAS data, TEL survey data. TEL stands for Teaching, Empowering, Leading, and Learning, and is a survey which is a statewide survey of licensed educators in school systems and the support that they need. And it's given statewide every 2 years. So we had a new survey last year, so we examined that information. We also used building-based assessments, data from building-based assessments, and parent surveys. We had parent surveys on the website and up really through the summer. And input from teachers, which was given during September faculty meetings once the draft strategic plan was shared with them. Next, we used the data to identify areas of challenge. After identifying a number of hypotheses for these areas of focus that would lead us to guide our work for the next 3 years, we used a root cause analysis process where we kept asking, so why is this, why is this, why is this, so that we could get down to a narrower focus for, what was the challenge and why did we believe we had this challenge in our district. And we chose 3 major objectives through a lot of work, and they are here. 3 strategic objectives that we chose are equity and excellence, which is to create an environment where all students are fully engaged in their learning and have equal access to high-quality curriculum and instruction that meets diverse needs and promotes each student's academic, social, and emotional growth. The second one was community of learners. Cultivate a respectful learning community that promotes success, relevance, and purpose for all educators, students, parents, and educational partners. And the word community in that objective is really particularly important to note. We spent a lot of time talking about how important it was for us to build a community here in East Hampton. We believe we have a good, strong community, but we want to put all of our efforts into making it ever stronger. The third objective is data-driven. Collaborate to analyze and apply data appropriately to guide meaningful decisions that improve student learning and educator, school, and system performance. Once we had chosen our strategic objectives, we turned our attention to the theory of action. And the theory of action is the statement that links beliefs to the strategy, to vision in our strategy. It explains the beliefs that drive the strategy and is a storyline. It begins with an if statement where strategic objectives are listed and a then clause with what we want to achieve. As our strategic objectives had changed, our next task was to develop a new theory of action, and this is our theory of action, that if we cultivate a respectful, engaged learning community, and you can see the community piece there again, with equal access to curriculum and instruction, and collaboratively use data, and here's our data piece, appropriately to make meaningful decisions, then we will improve student achievement and create a positive environment in which to work and learn. The next step was to generate a list of strategic initiatives. These are the specific projects or initiatives we would take on in the district in order to achieve the goals outlined in our strategic objectives. And once we had generated our list, we had generated a large list. So, and our theory of action took a lot of wordsmithing, a lot of work to get to the final product. Our initiatives, we brainstormed a lot of initiatives, put them up all over the room and looked at them. And then we decided that we had to narrow the list that was the next piece of the process, by thinking strategically about multiple factors, including synergy, which initiatives could be combined to produce the greatest impact, and ease and impact, which initiatives would have the greatest impact on achieving our goals. So we took and started to combine them and look at them objectively and think about how we could choose the best ones to help us achieve our goals. Once we had narrowed our list using these factors, we looked at the initiatives for pacing and sequencing. Which initiatives were we ready to work on or had we been working on and would give us early impact? And which ones will we begin to work on this year that we're in, but would take longer to achieve? We then separated our initiatives into areas of focus for years 1, 2, and 3, and you can see how those are designated in our plan. So if you look at the initiatives under the first objective, the first one is to clearly define and articulate current intervention strategies and programs. So this one is about intervention strategies and programs to support learners who may have needs for support in order to successfully access our curriculum and instruction. The second one is to integrate digital literacy into all curriculum areas. And we have a huge push to bring more digital literacy into our district. Our Director of Technology, Ashley Barstow, has been a tremendous asset to us in doing this, acquiring more infrastructure and more technology for our students to use and for our teachers to use in their classrooms. The third one is develop vertically aligned protocols and processes for building support team, which we call the BST, 504, and District Curriculum Accommodation Plan. So this is really about helping to provide supportive instruction again and curriculum for our special needs children and children who have 504 plans and IEP plans. And I'll pause when I get to the end of all these initiatives and see if you have any questions on these. The fourth one is to build a continuum of pre-K to 12 curriculum and instruction aligned with the current Massachusetts framework. This is a curriculum and instruction initiative. We've done a lot of work on aligning our curriculum and instruction with the Massachusetts state frameworks, but we aren't there yet, so we need to finish that up this year, make sure that everything is aligned so that it's tightly woven and we have a nice K to 12 vertical alignment as well as horizontal alignment in the grade levels. The fifth one is to implement newly developed scope and sequence for English language arts and math. We started that last year. We made tremendous progress on it, but we have a little bit of work left to do on that this year. We expect to finish that by the end of this year. Initiatives for year 3 are to integrate Massachusetts curriculum framework college and career anchor standards and standards for mathematical practices throughout all subjects. Again, we've worked on that last year. We'll continue to work on that this year. These are some really important standards that will help our children prepare for the PARCC assessment, and our real goal is to prepare for college and career readiness. Number 7 is to provide all students opportunities to engage in complex tasks. This is our complex task initiative. As you know from the presentations we had last year, the high school has done a tremendous amount of effort in terms of looking at complex tasks in classrooms and how we improve our instruction to provide our students with more opportunities. I believe that their work has, one of the components of their work, which was the complex tasks, has helped us move from a level 3 high school to a level 1 high school. So we want to move this down into the middle school. That's our plan this year, and then into the elementary school in a comprehensive way in the next 2 years. Not that we aren't doing this now, but we want it to be comprehensive across all grade levels. And 8 is to ensure student growth by expanding diverse teaching strategies that build on student strengths. And this is for all students, to make those students who need additional support to access the curriculum to have it, and for those students who need additional challenge to have that as well. So the key words here are diverse teaching strategies, so we're meeting the needs of all students. And number 9 is to use the Massachusetts tiered system of support, which is abbreviated MTSS, as a framework for interventions and supports. This is a Massachusetts model. We have pieces of it implemented at this point, but we would like to be able to implement it systemically in year 2 rather. Any questions? I know that's a lot, but are there any questions on the equity and excellence initiatives? Need further explanation? All right, then we will go on to the second objective, community of learners. For year 1, our first initiative is to increase digital literacy throughout the community. This means digital literacy for students and adults. So we have many of our staff who are digitally literate at this point in time, but we have some who are not. So Ashley Barstow has offered workshops after school. He's helped teachers by putting technology in their classrooms and supporting them in using it. So we really want to make everyone in our district, students and and staff be digitally literate. And so we have a great effort in that direction. Number 2 is to employ effective communication strategies to enhance all school and community partnerships. And this gets back to thinking about how we're communicating within our schools, within our district, and also within our community. So we're putting a lot of effort this year into our new school website, and trying to make it a vehicle to reach out to all of our staff and also to our community. We're using shared folders for our staff to be able to communicate things easily back and forth. Documents can be shared in these shared folders. I know you have a school committee shared folder, so that gives you kind of a taste of how that works. But it's just opened up new avenues of communication, and we're very pleased with the direction that we're going. Number 3 is teachers and administrators will collaborate to create goals that align with state standards and district strategic initiatives. You saw evidence of that in the presentations of the principal's goals this year. You know, we're working very hard to align all of our goals and align together, mine with theirs with the teachers, and all of us with the strategic plan, because there's power in all of us moving in the same direction and understanding the direction we're moving in. Number 4, to use meeting time to work collaboratively on achieving targeted goals and products. So the key words there are to work collaboratively. We know that there's strength in bringing all of that expertise to collaborative meetings, and so we are looking for opportunities to provide that collaborative work for our teachers. Certainly the work that's going on at the high school is a great piece of evidence of that. The learning walks and the collaborative discussions the teachers are having about best practices and evidence of complex tasks. Number 5, use the Massachusetts Educator Evaluation System as a framework to support district and school improvement, and as a community support as well, to help our community understand what is going on in our schools. I think we've done a very good job of doing this already. The superintendent's mentoring program, the new superintendent's mentoring program, that induction program I participated in for 3 years, gave me some excellent professional development in how to bring this into being in a district. And we also, as you can tell, have a tremendously active and engaged leadership team, willing to work together and wanting us all to work together. So we've come a long way in terms of this, and have received praise from other entities about our implementation of the educator evaluation system. Initiatives to be completed in year 2. Number 6, to develop a system that facilitates easy access, mutual understanding, and common implementation of current rules, policies, and procedures. So we, in one of the challenges that we identified is that we have rules, policies, and procedures, but they aren't always consistent across the district, and there aren't easy ways to access them. So our shared folders are one vehicle now for us to access this information and to store it all there. But also we're working as a team to put in consistent policies, rules, regulations, and protocols. So we've made great progress with that, but we expect to have that completed by the end of year 2. And for year 3, we have number 7, facilitate an integrated, sustainable professional development plan aligned with district strategic objectives and drawn from internal resources and expertise. And this is really, the key words in this initiative are drawn from internal resources and expertise. Our program at the high school has been so well received and so successful. And for those reasons, because we are we're drawing from our internal resources and expertise. Teacher leadership is a goal for all of us, to put our teachers at the forefront and give them those leadership positions. And so we're planning to expand that into the middle school and the elementary school because we have equal pockets of that kind of expertise and leadership at all levels. We really have a great staff here in East Hampton, and so this initiative is about taking advantage of the skills and the expertise we have among our staff. And number 8 is to increase community partnerships to support students' social, emotional, and academic growth. This is about making more connections with our community. We have a good start already with our new PTO and their outreach committee and with our outreach advisory committee. So we're always thinking now and being more proactive about connecting with the community. Our coalition, our Healthy Youth Coalition, is another way that we're doing this, and certainly its focus is on students' social emotional growth, and we will be having a presentation about the coalition work. We've made some great connections with the district attorney's office through the coalition, and so we've got some really good things going on in all of those areas: academic, social, and emotional growth. Number 9 is to promote a positive problem-solving culture. Positive problem-solving are the key words there. 21st century skills. You know, we want to foster independence in our children and show them that perseverance is important and that you don't necessarily know the answer right away, but if you problem solve and you persevere, you can get the answer, because that's really what we have to do in life. So we're replicating that in our classroom programs. Number 10 is to research and implement new approaches to secure resources for identified needs. And this is in order to expand opportunities for all students. So we are continually looking for that. We're hoping to have more opportunities in place. And I think, quite honestly, our statement of interest to the MSBA and the work that we did with them today, this is clearly a way to bring new resources into our district that will benefit all students. So we're very excited about that possibility. Any questions about community of learners? And our third strategic objective is data-driven. And so our first initiative in year 1 is develop a systemic plan for data collection and analysis. Systemic is the key word in this initiative. We have a plan for collecting data, and we do plan for analysis, but it isn't systemic. So there are pockets where it happens in a more proficient way than in other pockets. So we really are pulling together to get this systemic approach to data collection, and not just collection but analysis, which is so important for finding ways to improve the areas of challenge. Number 2 is assess alignment of resources and allocate all resources to support strategic objectives, and this happens through data collection. So again, our data collection helps us determine, what we're doing that's aligned with our strategic objectives, what we're doing that may not be as closely aligned, or how we get more of what we're doing aligned with our strategic objectives and our resources aligned to support those initiatives. In year 2, we have initiative number 3, inform instruction based on analysis of multiple data sources. So we are, we're newly into data. When I say newly into data, I would say within the last 3 years. The state certainly has had an emphasis on data collection and analysis, and so we've done a good job of data analysis, and we have, but we have more data sources in some areas of our district than others. So this is really about having those multiple data sources throughout the district to help us identify our challenges and identify our strengths, and to monitor student growth in all areas, socially, emotionally, and academically. And number 5 is to continue development and implementation of common assessments. The key words here are common assessments. Again, we have this in place in our district, but not consistently. So it's about having consistent common assessments where it's appropriate. For instance, if in Algebra 1 courses, there should be some common assessments to measure student achievement across the courses, no matter who's teaching them. And then number 6, we have develop a culture where constructive, actionable feedback leads to growth. We had such a challenge in wordsmithing this initiative so that it captured what we wanted. You know, what we were really trying to do is capture an initiative that would talk about what we saw happen at the high school in last year. So the learning walks at the high school are a perfect example of a culture where constructive, actionable feedback leads to growth. And in a way that's a culture where that's accepted and supported and seen as a tool for growth. And so we've been so pleased with how that's worked at the high school. We really want that to be pervasive across the district as well, because as you know, it's that constructive, actionable feedback for all of us in our lives, you know, whether you've gone to the doctor, to the dentist, that's what helps us grow. So we're very pleased with finally wordsmithing this initiative to a place where we felt that it captured what we were trying to say. And it's a goal that we're all very excited about pursuing. So, any questions on that one, on that initiative?
Just thank you for going over each of them and all the detail
Well,
you've given us. I greatly
yeah.
appreciate that.
Well, I wanted to do that because they seem rather static when you see them in the action plan, in the strategic plan. But what happens is that there's an action plan or a part of an action plan that addresses each of these initiatives. So you don't see all the actions there. And that was what was hard when we were drafting it, not only for us, but when our teachers looked at it. You want to kind of put those actions in. But this is really the initiative, and then the actions flow from these initiatives. In my goals and key actions, in principals' goals and key actions, and in teachers' goals and key actions. So I felt that it needed a little more explanation. So our goal was to have a plan that was focused, coherent, and synergistic, and was both visionary and problem-solving. That's the goal we set out with as we began the process last June and certainly over the summer. I and my leadership team believe we have taken great care in developing this plan and vetting it. And I ask for your approval of our plan this evening. With your approval, this strategic plan becomes our district improvement plan.
For the next 3 years.
Sorry?
For the next 3 years.
Yes, for the next 3 years. Not that we, and as we did it, and I think you experienced, at each year we go back and look at the objectives, what we have accomplished, and where we are, and then we revise it if we need to, and share that with you also for your input on that. Okay?
Are there little cliff notes on these somewhere? If somebody, we all understand it now, having heard each one fleshed out, outside of going and looking through your action plans and the administrator's action plans, does that exist? No.
There are no cliff notes. Would you like?
I don't want to add more work because I know this has already been a lot of work. But I mean, just looking at the middle column, the word community gets used in different ways. So I mean, it would really help someone who didn't hear that to be able to say, all right, well, what's number 6 mean? What's number 9 mean?
No, we certainly could do that. I could just do sort of a
Examples.
cliff notes of what I just did with that.
And maybe Ashley can pull up the data and find out no one ever clicks on this thing. And so it would be a waste of your time. But if people are looking at this, and I think they probably are, and I hope they are, because it's great.
Well, and we want them to, and so, Dan, I think that's a very good suggestion, and I look to you as school committee members for other suggestions to make this a living document. We don't just want something that's on the shelf and no one looks at and no one even knows what we're doing. So that's what we tried to make it as succinct as possible so that we could remember those 3 strategic objectives and so that we could remember what they're about. But I think that, your idea of a little summary or cliff notes is certainly a good one.
Just a little, just because, yeah, exactly. It's so much hard work went into it. I want people to be able to use it, not just look at it and go, what's that mean?
Yeah. And so I do welcome your suggestions for how we make this a living document. And one of the things that I think we will do as a leadership team, we're going to bring it out at every meeting and look at it. And they're going to be sharing it with their faculty, so that last year, or I guess it was 2 years ago, one of my principals had their teachers develop in a faculty meeting a little chant about the 3 objectives. So he said, if you ask any of my teachers, they'll know what they are. So we're thinking of different ways of just making this something that everyone understands and takes to heart. But I like that idea, and certainly we're open to any other ideas. And we will continue to do some presentations and try to bring this into the presentations that we do for school committee as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So do you want a motion?
Sure.
So I make a motion to approve the East Hampton Public Schools 2014 through 2017 strategic plan.
Second?
Any other comments or discussion?
No, I think tons of kudos to you, Nancy, and the leadership team. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
And I really respect the language and the spirit around wanting to make this something that doesn't just you've accomplished this great, beautiful document and now it's going to get filed,
on a shelf.
but that it really comes to life and it's owned, not just trickle down, but trickle out. So it's in the classrooms, and you have parent conferences coming up. There's lots of ways to just kind of reiterate these messages and get them ingrained, and I appreciate that.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we made it, as I said, so succinct, 1 page. It's not, page after page that you have to read through, and sometimes, we get lost in that. So, I think it is it's handy in that way, and I do want to again praise my leadership team, the administrators on my leadership team, because they just put their whole hearts into this endeavor, and we spent long days at the high school. Really having great conversations and really looking at the data and thinking about what we were going to do. So it was truly maybe we use this word too often, but I think it's true, a very powerful, collaborative, engaging activity that we went through. And you can tell how much all administrators in this district care about this district and about the students and the teachers of the district. So I think we're very fortunate in that respect. But thank you. Appreciate the feedback.
And that's the way you want it to be too, because you want them to all own it.
Yes.
So that they all own this vision, this plan.
Yes, exactly, because they worked hard on it.
That's great.
So if you would extend our kudos
Yes.
to them,
I will
too,
do that.
for obviously a job very well done.
I will do that. Thank
That'd be
you.
great.
Thank you.
I make an assumption by way of that we already voted, but I'm inferring that the teaching staff also really embraced this so it's not just a top-down kind of.
Exactly. Well, and that's why when we did the draft, we shared it with them. I shared it with them in the opening days and talked about it like I'm talking with you about it tonight. And then building administrators shared it with them in a faculty meeting in September, and talked about it and had feedback forms for them they got in groups and looked at it and thought about what were their questions and what were their suggestions, and some of the suggestions we did incorporate into the plan. So everybody knows what it is. Now we just have to keep getting it out there so that we're all reminded of what we're doing.
Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to our matters for action. We have minutes from our September 23rd meeting.
Yes, and can I just ask a clarifying, do I make the motion or do I ask someone? Do I make the motion? And before I make a motion, can I ask, and this may be nitpicky, but just because I think there is such incredible work that's been done at the high school around learning walks and teacher leadership, a note under MCAS update in the minutes for September 23rd, the last sentence under MCAS updates, the Superintendent Follansbee updated the committee on the professional development at EHS moving into Whitebrook Middle School this year to improve instruction using the model. And just for purposes of someone looking back on this minutes, if we could actually name what the model is or give some language around it, so I don't care what it is, but if you want to just insert in there teacher leadership, or you have to make the motion?
No, you have to write it in and then approve the minutes as amended.
Okay. Does that feel too nitpicky? I'm just thinking of people looking back on minutes. I'd wanna
Perhaps
know.
you could use the words learning
Learning
walks.
walks, yeah.
Because I think that that's core
Yeah.
to the concept.
All right.
So a model of professional development through learning walks might work.
All right. So I move to approve the minutes of September 23rd school committee meeting with the addendum that the final sentence and underneath MCAS update be read as to moving into Whitebrook Middle School this year to improve instruction using the model of PD through learning walks used at East Hampton High School.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, and we have warrants and payroll.
Yes. Bear with me. And Laura, if you're at home watching, I am not you by any shake of the stick.
Read from the pink form.
The pink. I move to approve the school payroll dated October 16th, 2014 in the amount of $450,836.01.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
I forget about that with you. Do I go through the bottom, the accounts payable portion too? Yeah. I move to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated October 16th, 2014 in the amount of $184,049.46.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I do not see any other peaks. I move to approve the school payroll dated October 2nd, 2014 in the amount of $447,133.53.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Aye.
I move to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated October 2nd, 2014 in the amount of $226,974.25.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I believe that's it.
Okay. So we have a request that's been made by Nancy Follansbee for a school committee member to become a part of the wellness committee.
And Dan was nice enough to offer his services, unless somebody else wanted to challenge him on that.
I fully support Dan in that position.
Very much appreciated. Thanks. Dan.
Thank you for taking that on, Dan.
Thank you. Okay. To someone want to make a motion?
I make a motion to have Dan join the Wellness Committee as our school committee member representative.
Second?
All those in favor?
You wanna vote for me, Ken?
Yeah, motion passes. Thank you very much, Dan.
Pleasure.
Okay, we have a surplus equipment request from Maple School. Do you want to read that, or should I do that?
Do you want to do it?
Okay.
Do you mind?
Is it okay that I do that?
Mhm.
Okay. Judy Averill, principal of Maple School, is requesting that the following items be declared as surplus equipment. One piano on the second floor of Maple that's out of tune and hasn't been used for at least 10 years. and the school finds it's too expensive to have it tuned and keep it that way. And the other item is a broken television.
So I make a motion that those items be declared as surplus equipment.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Very good, thank you very much. Okay, then we have a request to close a student activity account named School to Work, because the School to Work position at the East Hampton High School has been cut. And so we need to approve that. And then that account would be transferred to a new account named Connecting Activities. And funds raised at the October 18th, 6th annual dog show will be used for activities that connect school-wide for students. So it would be moved to that account. So do we need to,
I think it should be done in 3.
3?
Okay.
Okay.
Andy's not here to clarify, that's what I think, is it should be closed, open, and then transfer.
Okay.
We have to transfer before we close it?
True. Yes. Thank you.
So we should open and then transfer and then close.
Yep.
All right, so I make a motion that we open a new account named Connecting Activities for the East Hampton High School.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
So now I make a motion that we transfer the funds out of the School to Work account into this new account, Connecting Activities.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I make a motion that we close the account named School to Work.
Second?
All those in favor? Okay. And next, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?